Hi, I'm Wilhelm. With my videos in the Life Explained series, I would like to challenge our old belief systems and explore and share a deeper understanding of the spiritual laws. Viewers' discretion is recommended because not everybody may be ready and open to this material. Today I will talk about the experience of a soul as a newborn baby. This is a continuation of my previous video on life before birth, which explains what happens before we incarnate. As we have heard before, we are spiritual beings, also called souls, who incarnate here to earth mostly for karmic reasons. So here we have a soul in the spiritual world, and here on earth we have the expecting mother and father. Now the choice of parents are no coincidence, but carefully planned and agreed upon between the soul and the future parents. Furthermore, there needs to be a vibratory similarity between the soul and the expecting mother. Like attracts like. We can also assume that the soul and the future parents have been together in previous lifetimes many times before. The first contact takes place by way of vibration of the soul to the embryo in the mother. Then the soul sends basically out its feelers and adjusts its radiation to the genes, the hereditary inclinations of the future body, or in some cases the soul influences the genes to create a sick or even handicapped body to provide a perfect vehicle to unburden karma. The more the embryo grows in the womb of the mother, the closer the soul comes towards the mother and the child. The soul often enters the embryo for a short while to try it out. Those are the moments when the mother can feel the baby kicking in her tummy. But only at birth, with the first breath or cry, the soul bonds with the baby. It finds its seat right here at the pituitary gland, which is a small structure at the base of the brain. Now you may ask, how can a fully grown soul and a mature soul suddenly become so tiny to fit into the head of a little baby? The secret lies in the structure of the soul. Our physical body is made up of cells, but our soul is made of spiritual particles that fold into each other like this. We can also think of a rose bud where all the petals are folded into each other and later fan out into full blossom. It takes time for the soul to fully feel at home in this new tiny body. Imagine being suddenly compressed and boxed into this tiny body. The complete bonding takes weeks, months, and yes, even years. During this time, the soul still lives very much under the impression of the spiritual world from where it came and returns to it many times during sleep for refreshing. In his last book before he died, Wayne Dyer has written about these astounding recollections by children of their time before they came to earth. It's called Memories of Heaven. Since only very few souls incarnate here for the first time, it is safe to assume that the soul in the baby not only remembers their time in the spiritual worlds, but also their previous lifetimes here on earth. Dr. Ian Stevenson of the University of Virginia School of Medicine did some amazing research on this by interviewing over 3,000 children around the world and recording and researching their past lives' recollections. So it takes weeks and months or years before the veil of total forgetfulness completely envelops the soul. Meaning that from a certain point on in our life, we no longer can remember our past incarnations or our lives in the spiritual world. But for as long as we are boxed in this tiny baby body, we do remember everything. This means that behind the eyes of the little baby we are holding in our arm is a fully developed awareness looking back at us. That soul has made a contract with us as their parents or caregivers a long time ago before we were born. This applies also to adopting parents. And most likely we have been together with that soul many lifetimes before. In some way, the baby has a total awareness just like an adult person has. People often think that the mind of a child is new, or as new as blank as a body, but that's not true. Only the physical brain is new, but the mind is ancient. And inside the baby now lives a soul that has lived many times before and is still fully aware of this. Imagine yourself, you are that soul locked in this baby body. All you remember was this wonderful weightlessness of your spiritual body before you incarnated. And you might remember last time you were here on earth, maybe centuries ago. Now suddenly you find yourself in a totally different and unfamiliar time period, facing other standards and ways of thinking, with different ideas and habits and traditions and peculiarities of people who surround you now. How would you feel? This is a major adjustment for the soul in the baby. Therefore it needs to be protected and not willfully exposed to any harm. This includes horrific, painful experiences like circumcision. By the way, I have made a special video on circumcision if you wish to learn more about it. It is sad to see how many children grow up with parents who fight and argue, or are in a family full of disagreement, joylessness and inner torment. The sensitive soul of the infant registers it all. The soul perceives everything, no matter whether the child is sleeping or awake. It can even read and understand our thoughts. Remember what thoughts are. Thoughts are energies that we are continuously sending out. We do think in pictures, and these pictures, or these picture images, go out from us, and they become thought formations that surround us and can be picked up by sensitive people. The brain cells of the newly born baby are largely unburdened and are therefore receptive for all vibrations. Just like a sponge, the brain of the little baby is absorbing all these thoughts from people surrounding them, irrespective if it is asleep or awake. So as parents or caregivers, it is our task to help this soul to gently and lovingly adjust again to this three-dimensional physical world.
Let me summarize. Firstly, we always choose our parents according to our vibrations and our soul contracts. Secondly, the soul bonds with a new baby body after birth with its first breath or first cry. Thirdly, the soul is not new, but a fully developed soul that still remembers its life in the spiritual world as well as previous lifetimes. This can go on for weeks, months and years. And fourthly, it is our task to gently and lovingly help this soul to readjust to this three-dimensional physicality in our world and protect it from any harm. I hope you found this interesting. Thank you for watching.